Okay, I want to just take a real quick shot of all of this. This is quite downstream from the so-called finish of the job, having had to move all of the stuff and all of this stuff around, and all of this, which was in the well, I guess you could call it the street side room. Not all of it, but most of it. And this is all recording equipment. And that, very heavy, by the way. The rest of this was already in here. So we are way past the point of running out of space. But that's not really anybody else's fault. I don't want to try to cover anything up. What is the fact that we didn't cause this original problem. And I have plenty of corroborative video, hours of it probably, due to the overlapping and not remembering what it was that I had previously videoed. Notice you can see this ridge here. So even when this is painted, if it does get painted, it's a sloppy job. Same here. Can't really see what I'm shooting. So this is the idea is to try to restore this property to a semblance of what it was before. So we had blinds on the windows. They were plastic blinds, and they weren't the best blinds, but they certainly did the job of keeping the sunlight out. So, and this has nothing to do with the leakage and the subsequent demolding, if you will. How can I get through here? See, all of this inconvenience and extra effort has a dollar sign attached to it. Same thing here. The ceiling isn't as conspicuous here, so I think we could get by with that. I'm not out to make some kind of a killing on this financially. What I am saying is they stopped way, way short of where they would have needed to go to keep the real estate value the same as it was to begin with. So we actually have got a diminution, if you will, of curb appeal. Inner curb appeal, I suppose. And there's some other things too. I mean, just little silly things like this. Just painting over this rather than removing it and filling the hole. Same here. This happened when the mold remediation unit taped this whole area off so as to isolate it. So there's a lot. Well, yeah, as here, I never got around to taking that off. They never pulled the staples out. They left all of this for us to do. You see, and the point is, we didn't cause the problem. The problem was the HOA not handling the situation with the roofing company. Apparently, lack of adequate inspection, and so on and so forth. Not to speak of the fact that we still could have a problem here. And I'll bounce to another piece of video because of the fact that this is way too far in from the edge. I don't even have to go into that, but the point is that I have video from up on the roof of where they didn't fix the roof, which is where the downdraft is. So it wasn't even addressed, and we have adequate documentation to this effect, emails from the previous manager saying, even making aspersions, casting aspersions as to our intention or responsibility factor. So anyway, I don't have to even get into all that. So what I'm doing today, because of the fact that here, not here so much, but these are really irreplaceable, all these CDs. Heat is, as anybody knows, well, most people who have a brain realize heat is not the friend of the stuff. So I had to move all of what was in here out into the hall, because what we have here, some of this is priceless. It's absolutely irreplaceable. I'm not sure what's in those boxes, but I think it's more of this. There are projects that I've worked on, elements that I could reuse again in my multimedia pursuits. So in case there's any question about the authenticity or the validity of what I'm saying, it's pretty obvious here that and looking at my LinkedIn profile, which covers about 25 or 30 years, these are year boxes. So I'm just trying to do a real quick cursory thumbnail. So what I'm going to have to do at our own expense, we had to go to the dollar store, which wasn't $1, it was 7 times the dollar store, actually 8. So $16 on these, plus my time that it's going to take to somehow jury rig them so as to block the sunlight. This has been months now, actually, and I just haven't had time to do it because my wife and I are retirement age, and yet we're still on the front lines doing things. I have become an activist, and I'm intimately involved in attempting to bring public awareness to what you see in the sky, which most people say are contrails, and they are not. They are, and I hesitate to use the word because all of that does is create controversy. Chemtrails, but look it up. Google it. So I've got 2 sets, one set for here, and one set for the other room over there. And then I have some some large cabinets that I have to pull in from the garage in order to store some things that I won't even go into. But those cabinets are tall enough where they'll essentially do the job of what we're doing here. But the only other thing I'll add is the additional, very difficult to calculate amount of monthly electrical usage due to the fact that when the sunlight comes pouring in here, anyone who knows how radiant heat works, radiant energy, heats the floor. It's not the radiant energy that heats the air so much. It does to some extent, heats the floor. Now the floor heats the air. So we have hot rooms here, and we can close the door. However, I don't really want to close the door because I have, and I had, as I pointed out, some of these archival reel-to-reel tapes from my project days. So I hope that makes sense. Cassettes in here, for example, irreplaceable, utterly and totally irreplaceable. So they were getting baked. Not good. Especially not good for CDs and DVDs either. So the point is, so what's really, what is the point, Dr. D? The fact that we, did not cause the problem to begin with. So if you were to write down on a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper with a vertical line down the middle, what we did wrong and what others did wrong, I suppose ours would be, well, we didn't complain enough. That would be it on our side of the page. So that would be on this side, I guess. On this side, well, you're going to have to add a few pages probably and staple them together because it just goes on and on and on, which the video coverage that I have adequately demonstrates. So we have a decay in property value because it wasn't finished. We, as a matter of fact, talked with one of the supervisors here and talked about what kind of carpet we might want to install here. I think I may have a recording of that. I'm not absolutely sure. And obviously we can't show the house this way, even if we move everything out of here. Yes, I have to do this wall, and I have a little work to do over here. Not anybody else's responsibility, but yours truly, because I removed these doors. So, yeah, that's on me. But the rest of it, not so much. See, they just stopped. Cut the carpet off. Now, the way it's done is, according to several hundred years of morality, that does not find its way into commerce nearly as much as it needs to. We're talking about maybe 8% compared to 80%, right? That is value given for value received. That is the way it's supposed to work. Teeter totter. I give you a cow and you give me a couple of pigs and a hen, and now we're even. Not so here. So I hope that it makes sense. Now I have to take the next hour or so and figure out how to put these up on the window so as to block the sun. Something that I needed to do months ago and could not find the time for because of the fact that, quite honestly, Sue and I are doing financial chin-ups on the curb. Too much month when the money runs out, and this is verifiable. Anyone could just pull a check, go to the bank and check our stats, look at the metrics. There it is. Read it and weep. Have no savings, zero savings. You see, so this is not an ideal situation. Somebody needs to do something and finish this job, finish it correctly, and take care of some problems like this so that what we have, including replacing these. That means these, which I will establish residency today, meaning I will put them up today, will then come off, and we need to have what was up there before that was doing the job replaced and installed, not dropped off on our front porch for me to install. You see, the whole thing is just really wrong on almost all fronts. So this is the what is it? The 7th of July, 2020. Come on, guys. Let's actually run downstairs really quick. Pause. All right, we're back. Had to move all of this out of the way, including the refrigerator, which is actually too big for this corner. So this is a major inconvenience every time we need to try to cook something in here. Why didn't I move it back? Because of the fact that at some point somebody has to fix this. It's an eyesore. It's not completed. The job isn't done. This might be okay here as far as the so-called popcorn is concerned. What we're seeing is a discoloration more so than a ridge. Well, there's a ridge there. You see, it's not left in the condition that it was in to begin with. I have no idea why these nails weren't pulled out, but I suspect too much of a hurry. The crew, which is a separate crew from the remediation people, yeah, I had to do this. It's an eyesore from the outside. Well, I'm sorry. This sun beats in here. This is one of the drawbacks to this particular location. There are some advantages, such as our garden window. No, this is the garden window here. And there's a story behind all those containers some other time. The sliding glass door, the patio door, which leads out to an embankment, and fortunately it absorbs a lot of the sound from the airport that comes rolling up the hill and the traffic noise. So as usual, you win some, you lose some, and as the old saying goes, and others are rained out. But this is, when it comes to what we have to spend on air conditioning, and I won't even get into how we were burned and reamed by 2 air conditioning companies, and Bryant being the manufacturer. 2 brand new units, neither of which would pass muster. We're still actually straddling the second one. Every 2 years we have to fill it up with, the refrigerant it's new refrigerant. This is 2020. I guess this is the last year that they can use R24. I may be using the wrong numbers. So you see what we're up against. 14 minutes, that's not too long to be able to give a reasonably concise idea of what happened. They did have to take this out over here. So so that is what we're seeing here. Well, that needed to be attended to. You got to take it out. You need to make it look presentable. Curb appeal. But this here is just a joke. So I have the solution, but someone is going to have to do it, because I certainly can't do it, and there's no reason in the world that we should have to do any of it. Also, blinds for here too. These were all torn out, because these walls were all torn out, but I do have that in video coverage ad nauseum. All right, well, that's it for now. Legality covered. Okay, one down. Are we getting a light on this? Yeah. One down and one to go. That took probably about a half hour. So by the time I'm done, an hour and some change. And I would not normally, one of the other things I wanted to point out is the splinters that we're getting in our feet. Not so much, to be honest, and transparent, which we teach in seminars, sometimes to kids, not nearly as much as in here, because of the fact that constantly things are rolling around. Eventually, we had planned on replacing the carpet here. So, you can imagine what I'm dealing with here. So this is far more of a danger zone in terms of the splinters in the feet. But they have been received over here. So that's just one more thing to pack into the equation. In other words, under the heading of "it shouldn't be this way," which is the overarching banner. Shouldn't have been left this way. Anyway, hopefully I made that point abundantly clear. So an hour or so, and I could even work backwards. Some of the things that have had to have been done, and I'm not going to look into the camera because I have the flash on, it'll blind me. Some of the things that I've had to do, if I were to total up the amount of energy, not to speak of damage to the workflow and daily routines and so on and so forth, which is actually chargeable. You know, this is something that has a dollar value. I wouldn't have even thought to do that. Wouldn't have even crossed my mind if this job had been done correctly. So I just want to bring that up. I wouldn't be thinking about that, because that sounds like trying to monetize something that doesn't deserve to be monetized. But I have got news for you, guys and gals, that in this situation, I'm afraid it does deserve to be monetized, because we did not cause the problem any way, shape, or form. There's no way that you could even hang it on the wall or parse it to put us in the responsibility position or the culpability. No, so not mea culpa here. Tea culpa maybe, but not mea culpa. That's it.